What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Chase, aka CR Media, and we are here for another edition of One Arrowhead Drive because this is where the Chiefs live, heart and soul, right here, Chiefs Kingdom. Myself, Chase, my good friend, my co-host, Ty, Sports Talk with Ty, Sports Talk with T. How are you doing, Ty?
Doing good, ready to break down the schedule, talk about the possibility of D Hop coming to the Chiefs, and just enjoying the summer, enjoying the weather.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Holy hell, can someone say Chiefs fan? Yes, that is right. That is right. Appreciate you joining, Axel. Um yeah, man, we had the NFL schedule get released. Obviously we had the draft here in Kansas City. I know you and I kind of talked about, we had a soft launch of the show pre-draft, and we're still
Yep.
kind of soft launching the show for those that are watching and those that will be watching and listening at a later time. But we will, kind of kick it up a notch as we get closer to the season. Ty and I are just kind of finding our flow and kind of talking about, Chiefs and football news as it comes. And, kind of can't wait to kind of get all that going. But, Ty, as we take away from the draft,
Yep.
what was your kind of initial reactions to it being here in Kansas City?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a great time, obviously, getting down there, being able to go. I'm going to answer this real quick. Yeah, Rodgers versus Mahomes is a possibility this year, but we'll see about that. But yeah, anyways, the draft was a good time. I had fun. Obviously excited to see, Kansas City get to host such a big event like that. And, just to see the city get embraced kind of for those 3 days was awesome. I loved every minute of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know. I know when I went, it was an experience. You had a lot of different fans, obviously from different teams, all over the place. It was very, very awesome to see all the super fans that got to go up on the podium and announce their draft picks and whatnot. I know we're a little over a month after that because like I said, I think the soft launch show we did was right before the draft, right?
Yep. It was the week before it, I think.
That's right. That's right. And um, I just remember coming out of that thinking like, man, like this is great for the city of Kansas City. Just all the crowd and everything that went into it, all the fans from different teams across the nation, across the world, saw fans from Australia, Germany.
Yep.
It was nuts. It was a great experience. Great for Kansas City, not just obviously the Chiefs organization, but the city itself. Um, Hopefully, Kansas City will get to host another one in the future, and hopefully, stuff like the draft and other things like that will lead to the city of Kansas City getting bigger events.
Right.
Got the World Cup coming here in 2026. That's extremely interesting, but definitely interesting. So, this week the NFL, or not this week, but last week the NFL announced the schedule. It's been a little
Yep.
longer than a week, hasn't it? I'm still in vacation mode, my
I think
friend. It's been
it's
a
been a
couple weeks.
couple weeks.
Yeah, been a couple weeks. But the very Kareem, aka Joe Delaney, appreciate
What's
you
up?
joining. Yeah, man. The schedule got released. I
Yep.
think the big surprise to everybody was opening night. Um, Not really a huge surprise that the Chiefs were selected. Obviously, the Chiefs have been one of the more exciting, popular teams in the past few years with the addition of our quarterback Patrick Mahomes.
Exactly.
So anytime he's on screen,
Yep.
NFL ratings, and everybody's looking for something exciting to happen, whether you love him, you hate him, whatever. Obviously, Ty and I both being Chiefs fans, we obviously love Patrick Mahomes, number 15. So, um, No surprise that he's announced prime time Thursday night, the first game of the season. Little surprised that it's going to be against the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
What'd you think when you saw that, Ty?
Yeah, I was a little bit shocked too. I thought,
Thanks for
it'd be an
joining us, Steven.
AFC game. Maybe they would put the Bills or the Bengals on at on that night. But then once I seen that they put Lions, yeah, it's weird because Detroit obviously has struggled to be relevant for years. But you look at the way they ended last year on prime time in Green Bay, knocking Aaron Rodgers out of the playoffs at Lambeau Field, it does kind of make sense that they're trying to build the brand of the Lions. They are a young and up and coming team. So it makes sense of that aspect. And also the aspect, that's a good point, the Eagles too. But with the AFC teams, they're going to want to put those later in the year. The Eagles made a lot of sense too. I'm shocked they didn't do the Super Bowl rematch week 1.
Yeah, like you and I were talking before we went live. I think the big one that a lot of people wanted was the Bengals and the Chiefs, or the Eagles and the Chiefs. So for them to go with Detroit, it is shocking. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
However, it's I still think Stephen Chambers said Lions versus Chiefs week 1 is going to be a great game.
Yep.
You look at Dan Campbell and what he's been able to do there in Detroit and what they're able to slowly start stacking on it. I think this game's going to shock a lot of people. I think some people are going to go, okay, didn't expect that. But it's crazy because there's a lot of primetime games here for the Chiefs. And I want to bring up Kareem's comment here because I'm a little frustrated a little bit because I'm a season ticket holder this year. And this game was supposed to be a home game.
Yeah.
And it got pushed to Germany. And that is against the Dolphins. And Kareem makes the comment, dumbest was playing Tyreek in Germany. I don't know, Ty. What do you think, man? Do you think the NFL you think the NFL schedule makers kind of dropped the ball on that, putting Tyreek and Miami and Kansas City and Germany?
Yeah, I do. I think a little bit, but at the same time, they're trying to build that international brand. And what better way to do it than give, them the stars, Patrick Mahomes. Let's be honest, the other games they're getting out in Germany are not great.
No.
So they gave them one great game. Something for them to be excited for. Now, I definitely do agree. I wanted to see the Dolphins in Kansas City, especially after everything Tyreek Hill had been saying the last 2 off seasons. It kind of felt like it was building up to that, and then obviously they decided to play the game in Germany, which they probably should have just put the Chiefs and the Bears or a team like that out there.
Yeah, I agree. Filling that Arrowhead crowd against Tyreek would have been hella fun. I agree. I agree with you. Like they wanted a high altitude game, a high ante, if you will.
Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, Isaiah Pacheco, all those guys. It's going to be great for the Germany crowd, great for an international crowd. I just, I get that you wanted to put the Chiefs out there. Maybe take the Chiefs and, they did that a few years ago in 2019 where they wanted to put the Chargers and the Chiefs in Mexico.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have done something like that.
Yeah.
Like the Chargers and the Chiefs. A game where,
that would be, really
exactly
high value game to sell out there.
Exactly. I mean, you've got Justin Herbert, and that Charger squad up against the Chiefs. I would have liked to have seen that game maybe pushed to Germany rather than that Miami one. Because like I said, if you're the schedule maker of the NFL and you're looking there, I just feel for me, if I'm looking for something that's going to like pop for the NFL crowd, I just think the story for Tyreek Hill coming back to Arrowhead wearing a Miami jersey would have been a better story.
And that's a game you put on Sunday night.
Exactly. Mick Thomason, appreciate you coming in. London has Jacksonville for 2 games. Let's be honest, London is turning into Jacksonville's second home.
Yeah, exactly.
And depending on what the Khan family wants to do, they might push Jacksonville. They might become the London Jaguars here in a couple of years. So
We've been hearing that for a while too.
yeah,
So.
yeah. The Jacksonville's been playing a lot in London. So I got a best friend who's a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. So Daniel Barry says, "Yo, appreciate you joining, Daniel. If you guys haven't already, we would greatly appreciate it if you would hit the thumbs up button and hit the share button or the like button, whatever you guys do. It helps the algorithm a lot, kind of helps push us out there. Like I mentioned twice already on the show. We've only been going for 15 minutes. And I'm going to mention it again. This is a launch, guys. Ty and I are doing this gradually as we kind of build up steam and get ready for the football season. We're going to be doing this, talking Chiefs football and whatnot. So, and we're going to mix a little bit of NFL in there too. So, if you're not a huge Chiefs fan or you're not a Chiefs fan at all, come hang out with us, talk NFL. Definitely looking to have a good time with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up that schedule. I've got that banner I made for to promote the show. I'm going to bring it up here. Kind of look at this. So, you've got the Thursday night game against Detroit.
Yep.
And this is crazy. I'm actually going to give me one moment here because I don't have the times on this graphic that I made, but I want to look at the times on the thing here. So, that week one against Detroit is a Thursday night game, prime time. Jacksonville is a noon game. And kind of looking at this, I think the Chiefs only have 2 noon games.
Yep. 2.
And that's week 2 against Jacksonville.
And then
week 16 on Christmas.
Yep.
Against the Raiders, which is absolutely wild to me.
It's crazy.
You think about going to the lot and going to Arrowhead Stadium and in the parking lot. I got the parking lot across the street from the stadium that my cousin owns. We'll be there hanging out. And, most of the time we're getting there at 8 or 9 in the morning, getting ready for a noon game. Yeah. And all these games are prime time, dude. It's just,
and is at home is the Raiders. So there's only one home noon game. It's on Christmas, like you said.
Yeah. All the rest of them, you look at September 24th against Chicago. That's a 3:30 game. And then Sunday Night Football against the Jets, which Axel brought up earlier. He's in the Long Island area, so he's a Jets fan. So then you've got Vikings on October 8th. That's going to be a 3:30 game. Thursday Night Football, week 6 against the Denver Broncos. Week 7. October 22nd against the Chargers, 3:30 again. October 29th against the Broncos in Denver. That's 3:30. It's crazy because, like I said, you didn't think.
And then the way they scheduled the divisional opponents too, you got Denver, LA, and then Denver again within like 17 days. That's crazy too.
Yeah, and it's so funny because you're like the 4th person that's pointed that out to me. But it's not that shocking anymore that they did that because they've been doing that the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Where they've done that, Denver, and then a couple weeks later they'll play Denver again. I'd love to bring up the schedules from past and kind of look at that because, like I said, this is not something new that the Chiefs have been doing. The Chiefs, or not the Chiefs, but the NFL has done with the Chiefs schedule. They've been doing that stuff where they, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, they put all those divisional opponents.
Yeah, they put the divisional opponents weird. It was like a couple of years ago, or might have even been last year. I don't know. It's been the past few years. But and correct me if I'm wrong, but there was one year, the past few years, where we went Chargers, or we went Denver, Chargers, Denver.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's just been something that they've been doing lately, and it's just very odd. Um, but then after those games, we do have the game in Germany.
Yep.
That's going to be at 8:30 in the morning. And then the Chiefs have a bye, which is great.
Yeah, you need to buy after that Germany trip.
Yep. And then they're gonna come back and do Monday Night Football on November 20th. And that's going to be at Arrowhead. Then in Vegas against the Raiders, and then in Green Bay, then home again on December 10th for Week 14 against the Buffalo Bills. That's a 3:30 game. And then Monday Night Football in New England, and then the Christmas
And
game that we
Monday
talked
night
about.
again, or
Yep,
Monday during the day.
yep, Monday during the day, and then New Year's Eve, 3:30 against the Bengals, Week 17, and then Week 18 against the Chargers, and that time is to be determined. So I don't know, man. It's just it's weird how they split some of those out. And it's just going to be a very different football season, Chiefs football season, with the Chiefs only playing at noon twice.
Yep.
But the flip side to that is, as a Chiefs fan, that kind of gets you excited a little bit because, I mean, that means your team's doing well, right?
Yep.
When your
And
team's
if you
doing
think
well,
about it,
they
the
get prime
Chiefs are
time games.
really playing eight times, really 8 primetime games, because 2 of those other games that aren't primetime are going to be the only games on TV, which I think is Cincinnati and the Vegas game.
Yep. Yeah. Because the New Year's Eve game, and then
The Christmas.
the Christmas game. Yep. Steven Chambers, appreciate everybody joining in the chat. Jets just in the season. um Steven Chambers says tough schedule for the Chiefs. I think it is, yes. And then part of me also thinks that it's not that tough. If you look at some of those games, I mean, obviously the Bengals are going to be tough. I
The
don't think the
Bills.
Raiders. I don't think the Raiders are.
Nope.
I think the Raiders have gotten worse. I don't think that they've gotten better in any way, shape, or form. I don't see Jimmy Garoppolo and Devontae Adams being a dynamic duo.
No.
I think the Chargers will be tough, as they
Yep.
are every year.
And Denver's intriguing because of with Sean Payton. I think
They
they're
are.
going to be better than they were last
I think
year.
they will be better, but I don't think it's going to be, mounds on top of
No.
mounds better than a lot of people think. I'm not big on Sean Payton. I don't think that he's, I think he's a good coach. Don't get me wrong. I
Right.
think he's a good coach. I just don't. I feel like everybody hypes him up a little bit too much. Now, granted, I'm eating crow this year because around this time last year, I said that Devontae Adams would decline, and I called him the most overrated wide receiver in free agency, and blah blah. And I ate my words. And I'm willing to admit that I was wrong. I just, tie up. You're on the Kansas side, brother. I'm on the Missouri side. I'm from the show me state.
Yep.
Show me something. What I've seen is that every wide receiver that's left Green Bay to go on to get big contracts has gone on to do squat. And, so I was wrong about that. So I'll eat crow about that. I feel like I'm going to have a lot of people jump down my throat about the Sean Payton stuff, and that's fine, to each his own. I don't think that they have a great nucleus in Denver for him to come in there and turn that football team around.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't. I don't think that. I don't think that. I don't think Sean Payton's a bad coach.
No.
I think he's good. I think at one time he was great. But I think I just don't think that you stick Sean Payton in Denver with all of Denver's issues, and then Denver automatically becomes uh, a
A good
division
team.
winning team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
So that's that's how I feel. Um, you know, looking at the schedule, what are your thoughts, Todd? Do you think that it's a tough schedule for the Chiefs?
Yeah, I think it's tough in some aspects, but I think if you look at it, last year's schedule was tougher when you faced 8 teams that were in the playoffs, weeks 1 through 8. All those teams were in the playoffs the year prior. So definitely, I thought that schedule was tougher than what we're getting this year. But the Chiefs, they have the shortest rest this year, the shortest amount of rest out of any team in NFL. With the schedule, a lot of, like you said, all those prime time games leaves 6 days in between a lot of those games, sometimes 5 days with those Thursday games, and then the possibility now of them flexing these Thursday games out. Do the Chiefs get flexed out to a Thursday game? It's definitely a possibility. So I think it's tough on, and with that aspect of the rest thing, and the shortest amount of rest in the NFL this year, it's going to be tough because they've played the most amount of games. If you put together like the last 2 years, they played the most amount of games, and now they're going to be playing on short rest mostly this year against all these teams. So it's definitely going to be interesting from that aspect.
Yep. Um, anything about the Chiefs that says there's going to be a regression from last year? Any moves that the Chiefs have made from February to now that makes you say they might regress?
Yeah, I think it's with the tackle situation. When you talk about, Orlando Brown obviously going to Cincinnati, and then they signed Jawan Taylor to be the left tackle, was supposed to be. They gave him all that money to be the left tackle, and then they went out and grabbed Donovan Smith, who's now going to be the left tackle with Jawan Taylor at the right side. And Donovan Smith really struggled last year. I know he was hurt, but he's really struggled most of his tenure in Tampa. He had one really great season, but outside of that, he's struggled with penalties, pass blocking, kind of like Orlando Brown. He's very stiff, is not athletic, like a Jawan Taylor with the footwork and all that stuff. So I'm definitely worried about the tackle situation from the aspect. I don't think it really got any better than last year. I don't think it got much worse. I don't think you could get much worse than last year because they gave up the most pressures in the league as a unit. But I think this year there's more question marks, I think, on the offensive line with the 2 tackle spots.
Yeah, I do think that I do think that there's question marks on the tackle position, but I'm going to be brazen here, and I'm going to say that I feel like it's solidified a little bit more than it was last year, because last year the right tackle spot was questionable. You
Yep,
had
it
no
was.
idea, you didn't know who was there. You didn't know about their experience, whatever. You knew that Orlando Brown Jr. was at the left tackle spot, but I think Orlando Brown Jr. did fine for the Chiefs. I'm not going to, I'm not going to heavy critique him or anything of that nature, but there's a lot of people that believe that that Orlando Brown didn't live up to his hype. So the uh so this year going in, now you have a veteran at left tackle
Yep.
that they picked up from Tampa Bay, and then you've got Taylor at the right tackle. And I feel like they made that move knowing that Taylor wasn't ready for the right tackle or for the left tackle position. So that's why they let him stay at right tackle, and then they picked up the left tackle after they made that signing for him. And I think it's going to solidify that more. Um, Jake says he thinks the Chiefs will go 11-6 this season. I think that's baloney.
Me too.
Chiefs getting Taylor was a great pickup. I agree as well.
He's
Uh,
definitely an upgrade over Wiley.
yep. The Chiefs have big plans for Kadarius Toney. Chiefs see unlimited potential in Toney, who can essentially get to any area of the field he pleases. Agreed. I think my only issue with Toney is, can he stay healthy?
Exactly.
I think we got an absolute steal for Toney, and I think Toney can be an absolute breakout star as long as he can stay healthy and on the field. And that question will be answered next year. But concern defense for the Chiefs. Stephen Chambers says, only concern I have for the Chiefs is their defense. The only concern I have for the Chiefs on defense is the back end of it, which I feel like we've been saying a lot. And for whatever reason, the Chiefs always find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Right. And that's weird. I don't know why. You can go back and look at all my stuff. Listen, I am a man of very hot takes. And I am very vocal about my opinions and all that other stuff, Ty. I don't know, if you watch my early Chief stuff with James and all and whatnot, you'll know that I am not a fan of Steve Spagnuolo. But for whatever reason, Steve Spagnuolo seems to just make it work with the defensive backs. And I don't know why. I don't know how. You look at the defensive backs and you're like, who you got back there? Juan Thornhill.
Right. That year we won the Super Bowl with Rashad Breeland.
You let the landlord go to pick up Justin Reed. And you think Justin Reed's going to do just as good of a job as the landlord? And man, he makes it work. And Kareem says, I have zero defensive concerns.
I agree with that.
He said, I think they planned on drafting an LT, but Smith was the backup plan. I think so too. I think they had a board set up. I think at some point within those first few rounds, they had planned on taking a tackle. I think their tackle who they wanted went away. And I think that they, made different plans.
Yeah.
Yep. But, kind of moving off of that a little bit, let's pay some bills, if you will. We want to thank everybody who's watching us. Guys, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, hit the share button, the thumbs up button on YouTube or the like button on Facebook, guys. We greatly appreciate it. It helps out with the algorithm. It gets us out there. Also, if you have not already, make sure you go follow Ty on his social medias. There should be a link to his link tree in the description. There is also a link to my link tree in the description. Guys, if you are a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs, you are going to love the content that Ty and I put out. We're big Kansas City Chiefs fans. I am also a humongous professional wrestling fan. I am Sports Empire's residential professional wrestling guy. I also do my own stuff in the Kansas and Missouri area. Got a lot of big things coming up. So make sure if you are into professional wrestling, independent, mainstream, doesn't matter what, you like it all. I got something for you. But we're growing an empire, if you will. So make sure you show Sports Empire some love as a way to say thank you for showing Sports Empire some love. Sports Empire wants to give you $20 off. Gonna have to come up with a new overlay because it doesn't fit well with my background. Sports Empire Network wants to say thank you for liking us and sharing our stuff on social media. And as a way to say thank you, we're going to give you $20 off your first purchase on SeatGeek.com. Just use the promo code SEN for Sports Empire Network at your checkout, and you're going to get $20 off. Kind of getting back into this, I wanted to save this for last just because Kareem says follow Ty for horrible Knicks takes.
He's a hater.
That's a hater right there.
Yeah, that's a hater.
But so I wanted to save this for last, but Stephen Chambers brought it up, so I'm going to go ahead, kind of just dip our toes in it, and we'll kind of get it out of the way because I know you and I said that we would talk about it.
Yeah,
we would discuss it before the thing happens. So Any predictions on where DeAndre Hopkins will go? Do you think that DeAndre Hopkins is going to go to the Chiefs, Ty?
I want it to happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't see it. The Chiefs really got to clear up some cap space for it to happen. You're probably going to have to pay Chris Jones first, and then maybe you're going to have to go to Joe Thuney, Travis Kelce, or Patrick Mahomes for a restructure, because right now the Chiefs are sitting at $3 million in cap space. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins is not signing for that.
No.
So I want D Hop, and he would be. I mean, if the Chiefs got D Hop, that might break the NFL, because the way he could complement Travis Kelce so well, and then you would be able to not have to utilize Travis Kelce all the time. You could kind of save him a little bit, maybe even extend his career a little bit if you went out and got a D Hop. But ultimately, I just don't see it happen, and I think he's out of the Chiefs' price range. And I think the Chiefs are comfortable with the wide receiver core they have now. They just drafted Rashee Rice in the second round. If you went out and got a D-Hop, he's probably wide receiver 5 year one after you just drafted him in the second round. So I don't see it happening. I think he will go to the Cleveland Browns. That's where I think he'll end up.
Okay. I like that Cleveland Browns prediction because of Deshaun Watson. I like that a lot. I think that those two were separated way too early.
Yep.
But here's what I'm no longer, because I used to be the Chiefs only have this much cap space and you're dreaming if you think this is going to happen and that's going to happen and this is going to happen. I used to be like that, Ty. Cap salary was like my thing, man. Like, as a Chiefs fan, Ty, you should know, the cap salaries and the draft and free agency was always our favorite time of the year, man. But
yep.
In the past few years, this team has done wonders with what Brett Veach. And even before Brett Veach, I know a lot of people harp on John Dorsey, but even the John Dorsey, like Brett Veach days, they've just done some weird stuff with the cap. And here's why, and here's what I love about it. I love it because it's more of a fun aspect. Like Patrick Mahomes will look at a Kadarius Toney and be like, "Oh man, I'd really love to work with him. Yep. Could you imagine the stuff that I could do with that guy? Could you imagine the cool stuff cool plays we could run on the field with that guy? I'll tell you what, let's go adjust some contracts and let's go out and get this guy." And when you've got a leader on your team like that Mahomes is doing stuff like that, and Travis Kelce, who's right behind Patrick Mahomes going, "Oh yeah, I'd love to go get that guy. We could run some cool plays with him." Those two guys on the offense looking at somebody like DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, like, bro, there's no doubt in my mind that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce haven't been on a 3-way call with Brett Veach and go, "There's a lot of cool stuff we could do with him. Like, let's move some stuff around. Let's make this happen." And so I don't think it's out of the realm.
No, I don't think.
Like I said, if you'd have asked Chase 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I'd have been like, no, you gotta have this many millions of dollars and blah, 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 blah. But like, it's a different team and it's a different team and a different, I'm trying to think, not atmosphere, but a different culture with this team now, with Brett Veach running the show and Patrick Mahomes and these guys are running selfless things, selfless lifestyles of, hey, the money's going to come. We want to win games. We want to win championships right now. And like Stephen Chambers said, you're looking at DeAndre Hopkins, who's only 30 years old. And I still think he's one of the best, if not the best wide receiver in the NFL.
He's definitely still top 5, right? I mean, I would still have him up there.
Exactly. So I don't know, man. And I think you give him if you do it early, if you do it here in the next, if you do it here in the next 30, 40 days, you have an opportunity to get him in the training camp
Yeah.
with the team, learning the playbook. So to respectfully disagree with you, um, yeah, salary cap is fake. Give
He
me
said,
D. You know, to disagree with you respectfully, Ty. I think week one, if you give D Hop and Kelsey and Mahomes and Tony and all those guys together, a summer of training camp, a week one, I think D Hop goes out there and he becomes your number one, number two wide receiver, behind Travis Kelsey easily. And
oh, yeah. He's
you
going to be
still have
wide
Scott.
receiver one.
Yeah, you still have Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore as your utility guys, and then you still have MBS as a backup, and that's nasty, dude.
It is.
And there's another thing that will kind of latch on to this a little bit. There's a lot of talk of Frank Clark coming back to Kansas City.
Yeah.
If that happens, I think let me ask you, do you think, granted Kareem said salary cap is fake, and this might prove it, but do you think that there's a possibility the Chiefs could snag up both D Hop and sign back Frank Clark?
I mean, it's definitely a possibility. If they're freeing up the money to get D Hop, they might as well free up the money to get Frank, because I don't think it's going to take. I think you could sign Frank right now with the money you got. So I really don't think it's going to
I do
take.
too.
Yeah, I don't think it's
I
going
don't
to take
think that's
much to
I
get
don't think
him.
that's an issue at all.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, they're kind of going back to the D Hop thing. D Hop has mentioned, I mean, look at the teams that he's played on with the
Yep.
quarterbacks that he's played with. Other than Deshaun Watson, it's not a great group of guys.
No, not at not
Not a
at
great
all.
group, not a great group of quarterbacks whatsoever. And at 30 years old, coming off of this horrible tenure with Arizona that he's had, where they released him. I mean, just absolutely insane to me. I mean, you just said it yourself. We're looking at a top 5 wide
Yep.
receiver in the NFL,
And he got
and they
cut.
released him. Nothing. I mean, Rich Eisen, he
Yeah, I
did it
seen
live.
it.
Yeah, did you
I
see that?
seen
When
it.
he did
Yeah.
that live on his podcast, and he was like, his reaction was the same as mine. How do you, as an organization, how do you claim to be a professional football organization in the National Football League, and you make a front office move like that? That is mind boggling. But kind of dialing back that a little bit, going back to the issue at hand, he's 30 years old, like Steven
Yep.
said. He's still arguably top 5 wide receiver. He's had horrible, quarterbacks to deal with. He's made some money. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And could he, he's still got a good career ahead of him. He's got a few good years left, so he could go make more money. Or if he wanted to, he could
Win.
adjust. Yeah. Take a $5 million contract for a 1-year thing or whatever with some incentives, and go out and try to win a ring with Kansas City. And if you're looking at Kansas City from the outside in, I'm not just boasting up our team because it's our team, obviously I'm a fan, but you look at the situation, my guy, the past 5 years, the Chiefs have been to the AFC Championship 5 years in a row and been to the Super Bowl.
They've had the number 1 offense every year.
Yeah. So I mean, like, if you're D Hop and you're thinking in your head, you're like, there's a really good chance that I could get there if I go back. So not go back, but sign with Kansas City. So I don't know, man. Like I said, if you'd asked Chase 6 years ago, I'd have said that D Hop thing didn't make sense financially. But with the way, kind of again playing off of Kareem's joke, the salary cap thing, I don't know. I think that there's a huge possibility that DeAndre Hopkins is the Chief before before preseason. I
If
think
it's
there could be a
before
huge possibility.
preseason, then I mean, he's gonna
Yeah.
have like 1,500 yards, and Travis Kelsey's gonna have like 1,300 something. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. And I like, and I mean, call me crazy because obviously I think that we could have gotten OBJ for cheaper. But I like that idea better than I do the OBJ one.
Oh yeah, me too. I think DeAndre Hopkins was way better than Odell Beckham at
Oh,
this point in
absolutely.
their careers. I mean, we're still talking about DeAndre Hopkins being top 5. Is Odell? I don't even know if I could say he's top 10, maybe top 15.
I don't. I'll tell you what, man. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna speak ill of OBJ because, yeah, I think he's a huge reason why LA won that Super Bowl
No, yeah, he
against
definitely
Cincinnati.
is.
I mean, he came out. He showed out for that game. So, um, yeah, man. Is there any other like free agents out there that you wanted to look at or that you would be interested in the Chiefs looking at?
Yeah, it's Yannick Ngakwe. He's still a free agent out there. He had 9 sacks last year with the Colts. If you're talking about bringing Frank back, maybe if you want to go a different direction than bringing Frank back, you go with the guy like that who's obviously going to cost more than what Frank would, because Frank's familiar, with the team, and he obviously wants to take less money to come back. But um, Yannick Ngakwe, like I said, 9 sacks last year. You add that to this defensive line, and then you take the pressure off George and FAU and put it more on him. I think that would help a lot.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think that I think Frank is a no brainer.
Yeah,
Um, uh, you know, I think that I don't know, man. I've kind of done a 180 on Frank. And Frank kind of, you know, I think it was the year before last. I was a little harsh on Frank.
yep,
Been watching him last year, man, and I mean, we talked about this. We talked about this before. You put Frank Clark in conversations with guys like, Reggie White, for his playoff sacks and stuff like that. You need a guy like that around.
yep,
And if you can bring him back and keep him for a couple more years, and he can retire a Chief, I think that would be a storybook ending for him. Um, you know, I he did some dumb stuff.
yep.
Uh,
And he
you
learned
know,
from it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we've all done dumb stuff. So,
Yep,
learn from it, move on. And God, when Peter Schrager caught up with him in the middle of the field and watching him just get emotional about that, man, like it was awesome. So I think that I think it would be great to have him back. What Frank brings to George and Felix makes him so valuable.
yep.
Agreed.
That
Um,
veteran presence.
Absolutely. So like I said, wanted to kind of get that D Hop talk out of the way. If I love your prediction, if the Chiefs don't snag up D Hop, I think Cleveland would be a
Yep.
great spot for him. And um, if not Cleveland, who else?
I would put Detroit up there. I know Steven commented that too. I would put Detroit up there. I would put the Jets up there. Obviously the Bills. The Bills definitely would be a landing spot for him. I think it's gonna be. I know he said he wanted to go to Philly, but I just don't see that. Philly's already got Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. I just don't see how you could throw in a DeAndre Hopkins into that offense.
I think you could. I think when you're, like I said, I think that when you're talking about one of the best wide receivers in the league, I think anything is on the table. I don't think a team looks at other than Arizona because they're ignorant.
Yeah,
I
because they're
don't think a team.
tanking.
Yeah, I don't think there's a team that's going to look at DeAndre Hopkins and go, "Yeah, I don't think we can fit him into our offense." Like that's just not how it's not how the world works. you get one of the best guys at the position that's available, and you look at it and you go, we'll make it work.
Right. We'll figure all the
Yeah,
fit stuff out later.
we'll figure that out. We will make him fit into our system. Kind of going back to the schedule, Ty, we'll wrap this up. Looking at the Chiefs schedule, let's start week 1, you and I, because Jake Tribal Chief said 11-6 for the Chiefs. So let's go week 1 and let's break this down. Let's give our predictions. Okay.
All right.
So week 1 against Detroit in Arrowhead. Who you got?
I got the Chiefs winning it. I mean,
all right.
I just don't see you ain't losing a home opener like that.
I'm going to be there and I'm going to be really fucking loud. So
Yeah.
sorry.
I'll hear you on the TV.
Yeah. Here, let me find a way to keep track of this because, yeah. All right. So W week 1.
Yep.
All right, week 2. And we've got
Jacksonville.
Got Jacksonville week 2 at Jacksonville.
I think that's gonna be a tough game, tougher than people would think. Jacksonville's obviously a good team, playoff team. It's gonna be their home opener. So they're gonna be obviously excited for that because let's be real, this is the first year Jacksonville's going into a season with any kind of expectation since 2016 when they had Blake Bortles and Jalen Ramsey and all them guys. So
yeah, they went to the AFC Championship. Yeah.
So they're going to be hyped up for that. Obviously, their fans
or the division. They went to the divisional, right?
Yeah, the division.
Yeah, divisional.
Yeah, against
they lost against the Patriots.
Yeah,
and then we played the Patriots in the AFC Championship, right?
Yep, I think so. And then
or was that the year prior where we lost? To
I think that was the year before. Yeah, because it was Jacksonville and New England in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Jacksonville should win that game, but Jacksonville, I think it's gonna be a tough game. It's gonna be hot down there. I remember last time the Chiefs played down there, guys were dealing with cramps and all kinds of stuff like that. So
Tyreek Hill left with a cramp that game. He still smoked Jalen Ramsey because I remember Jalen Ramsey called him a return specialist. Yeah. And but yeah, I agree, man. I think that's going to be a tough game. You've got Dougie P, who's building a great culture down there. I think Trevor Lawrence, Gene, on Sports Empire Network has said high praise about Trevor Lawrence all year last year, and I agree with him. I put Trevor Lawrence above Joe Burrow.
Already?
Yeah, no, I do. I think I think talent-wise, dude, let me tell you something. I think Joe Burrow is great. I love Joe Burrow. I'm not a fan of the Bengals. I'm not a fan of that whole team, but I am a huge fan of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is the new Joe Cool. He just has this cool presence about him where I just feel like they can't shake him.
Right.
And a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL don't have that ability. And I don't think Trevor Lawrence does. I think Trevor Lawrence, just like most quarterbacks in the NFL, can get shook if you put pressure on him.
Yep.
But his mind for the game, I don't know if you remember or not, man, but his sophomore year, they were calling him the next Andrew Luck.
Yep.
He's got a great mind for the game. He really does. And he's got a great arm. He's got the look. He's got the presence. He just needs the right system and the right coach around him.
He's got that now.
And he's got that now. So I think, like I said, if Jacksonville can plug up the rest of the holes that they've got on the defensive side and protect Trevor Lawrence and put some playmakers around him, Jacksonville is going to be a very dangerous team. Very dangerous. I don't think they're going to be dangerous enough to beat us, but we beat them. We beat them at home last year in the playoffs. After Patrick
And in the
Mahomes went
regular
down.
season. Now that we played
Yeah,
them
yeah,
twice last year.
yeah. Well, and let me tell you something. I think it's very fair to say that the Jacksonville team that the Chiefs played in the regular season was not the same team that they
No,
played in the
no,
playoffs.
not anywhere
Um,
close.
and that's what I'm saying. As you see that, as you see the progression come with Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence, I think you're going to see a very different Jacksonville team. I don't think that they're going to beat us. I still think we take the W in this game, but I think it's going to be a tough one. I think it's
Yeah,
going to
it's
be
gonna be a tough
one.
game.
I think it's going to be one that Chiefs fans, that casual Chiefs fans, are going to look at and go, "Oh yeah, we're going to win this game," and then that game
Yep.
is going to come out and shock a lot of people. I think it's going to come down to the wire, but I'm still taking a W on that one. Week 3 against the Chicago Bears.
That's a dub.
I hate to be that. I hate to be that way, man. But week 4, Sunday Night Football against the Jets.
This is gonna be interesting. I gotta see. Like, I want to say the Jets will beat us because I mean, eventually we got to lose the game, right?
Yeah,
And this
yeah,
would be
yeah.
the game to lose. But
Sunday Night Football
I'm
in
not sold. I'm not so sold on the Jets with Rodgers yet. I got to see it.
really.
Yeah, I'm not sold on it yet. It's kind of reminding me of what Denver did last year when they went out and they got Russell Wilson. Everybody had these high expectations
Well,
for him.
with all due respect, Ty, Russell Wilson is not Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he's not Aaron
He's
Rodgers.
not Aaron Rodgers. And I think that uh um I think that the Rodgers is at a point in his career where he is more focused on I don't think he's focused on winning a championship. Maybe I'm wrong, but that is me.
No, I
You know,
agree.
he made that comment about Zach Wilson, about how he's going to be Zach Wilson's best friend. You know, he's going to help Zach Wilson and all this other stuff. And I think that you're going to be surprised because I think while Rodgers is not trying to, you know, be the MVP and throw for, 3,000 yards or 4,000 yards, I think he's going to come out and surprise people. And the idea, or, being on a fresh team with that good defense, I think you're going to see a very dangerous, rejuvenated Aaron Rodgers. I could see the Chiefs taking a loss in this game.
Yep. I would give him a loss here.
So 3-1.
Yep.
3-1. Then you've got the next game after that. You've got in Minnesota.
This is gonna be another one of those tough games. It's not a primetime game, so that therefore Kirk Cousins should actually show up. So if he shows up, it should be a tough game because they got a dynamic offense over there. Their defense is still very questionable to me, though, and I think ultimately we end up winning this game. It's probably going to be a higher scoring game, though, just from looking at it from right now.
I like it. I think so as well. I think this is going to be a very defensive game. I think this is the game where, like, a lot of people are going to be shocked because, like you said yourself, you could see it being a shootout. I don't see it being that way. I could see it being a defensive battle. I could see Kirk Cousins making some mistakes, and Minnesota has a pretty good defense over there, and I could see them forcing, or making some stoppages and forcing Patrick Mahomes to make some mistakes as well. I think the Chiefs will win it, but I think it's very close. Short week.
Yep.
Got Denver at home, Thursday Night Football.
I think that's a W. I mean, Denver is still yet to beat Patrick Mahomes, and I don't see it happening in this game.
I like it. I agree. I agree. So you got the Chiefs 5-1. I think both of us are on the same page here with the
Yep.
Chiefs at 5-1. Then they come back. They get a little bit of a break here. They get a 10-day break. And then they face the Chargers at home. Week 7.
That's gonna be. Is it at LA or you said at home? So
It's
at
at
Arrowhead.
Arrowhead. It's at Arrowhead.
So then I'm gonna go with the Chiefs on this one. I do think they split the series this year with the Chargers, though.
I like it. I will agree with you. Then they come back a week later, not to Arrowhead. They go to Mile High and they face Denver.
I think by then Denver's gonna be out of the hunt. So easy W.
All right. Then they go to Germany and face Miami.
I'm kind of back and forth on this one. Miami's obviously got, a dynamic team down there, what they're building with Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey. Then on the offense, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. It's going to be one of those tough games. Another tough game that I think the Chiefs, I'm having barely winning this game, probably by it's probably going to come down to like 3 or 4 points. Be one of those kind of games.
I don't like the Chiefs against teams that can beat them over the top.
Right.
Cincinnati, Miami could be one of those teams.
Buffalo,
yeah. I don't like it, man. I don't like it. They struggled even with Tyrann Mathieu. They struggled with it. But Tyrann Mathieu helped lock some of that stuff up. I don't think Eric Reed did as good of a job as Tyrann did, obviously, because he's not Tyrann, I mean, he's younger and he's got a lot of room to grow, but I just don't like the Chiefs against teams that can beat you over the top. I think the Chiefs will take a loss in this one.
I'm not mad at that.
All right. So you still got the Chiefs with 1 loss. I've got them with 2. So 3. So you got them 8-1. I've got them 7-2. All right. The next game, going into the bye, and then they come back and they face the Eagles on Monday Night Football.
Andy Reid's 4-0 against the Eagles since being fired from him. He's also got an insane record coming off the bye week. We all know about that here in Kansas City. Yeah. Andy Reid off the bye week is dangerous. So I just don't see him losing this game.
I agree. I love it. Super Bowl rematch. I think it's going to get choppy or chippy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think it's going to be.
It's going to be a good game.
It's going to be a very good game, but I think it's going to get very chippy, like the Super Bowl did. They've got a very passionate coach over there. Regardless of, I didn't like it during the Super Bowl, like his antics and whatnot, but I love stuff like that. If it wasn't against the Chiefs, I'd have been super hyped. I like that team. We have a lot of Philly fans in Sports Empire, and some of them have been vocal about not liking the GM in Philadelphia. I love the GM in Philadelphia. I don't know if you ever.
They don't like Howie Roseman. How?
I don't know if you ever saw this or not, but it was halfway during the year. It was like in the halfway point or at the later part of the year last year. Howie walked up. There were some fans after a game. I think it was after one of the Giants games, and they were holding up a sign and it said, "Howie, we forgive you." And he was like, he walked up to me. He goes, "Forgive me?" He goes, I did this, and I did that. And he was like, "Fuck you." Like he straight up, he told those guys in the fans, he goes, "Fuck you. I don't need your forgiveness." And I was like, I love that.
Did you
Again,
see him and Mike Florio going at it the other day?
oh
Oh,
my
you gotta go
God,
watch that.
it was great. I love
It
it.
was.
And like I said, like that's that stuff I love, man. I love the grit. I love the the chippiness. A lot of people, it's old, or those old heads, the old school people don't like that. Shut up and play football.
Yeah.
No, talk. I love it, man. You know, uh, nobody ever said anything in the 90s when Deion Sanders did it, and so now that more players and coaches even are doing it nowadays, I love it, man. I think it's great. it
Yeah, I
makes
love the
it makes
fact
for
that
great TV.
coaches are starting to get in on it too.
Yeah. um then the following Sunday, after that Monday Night Football game against the Eagles, coming off the bye, they're going to play in Vegas against Vegas. I'm
That's
sorry.
easy.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Which is crazy
Who's
because,
their
like,
quarterback even gonna be? Because with the Jimmy G situation, did you hear about all that contract stuff? So it's like
yeah,
it could be Brian Hoyer. Is Jarrett Stidham in the mix? Like,
yeah. And here's what's crazy too is, I talked about, like, maybe I'm being hypocritical because I talked about the Chiefs. Like, I don't like the Chiefs against teams that can beat you over the top. And I think it's very, very safe to say that Devontae Adams can beat you over the
yeah,
top,
if he has a QB.
but who's throwing that ball
Exactly.
to him? That's the problem.
That's the
So
problem.
I agree. I think the Chiefs take a W there. I also think the Chiefs take a W the following week, Sunday Night Football against the Packers, which is arguably, uh, uh, myself included, and a lot of Chiefs fans think that this game will get flexed out,
Yep, I do too.
because this is scheduled for Sunday night
Unless the
without
Packers are good.
Rodgers, um, you know, without Devontae Adams, I don't know what their identity is.
Right.
A lot of people don't know what their identity is right now. Are the Packers going to be good enough to keep that Sunday Night Football position with the Chiefs? I just don't think they will. I think that game gets flexed. Flexed out.
Yeah, flexed
So,
out. Yeah. I could definitely see that.
but I also think it's a W.
Oh yeah.
So we're still sitting here at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You're at 11-1. I'm at 10-2. So unless the Chiefs lose the remainder of games, Jake, the Tribal Chiefs 11-6 prediction is not looking good. After the Sunday Night Football game against the Packers, the Chiefs go home to face the Bills.
That's where I'm going with the loss. I think Buffalo beats us. I think what you said about, teams beating us over the top, and Buffalo actually has had our number in the regular season. We always just find a way to beat them in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
I think Buffalo keeps it up and they win.
I agree. So I've got them at 10-3, and you've got them at 11-3.
Or 11-2.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
My bad.
yeah. No, you're good.
After that, they go Monday Night Football against the New England Patriots.
That should be a dub right there.
It should be. I agree. The Patriots will always worry me because of Bill Belichick, but I still think at the end of the day, I think the Chiefs. I don't think that the Patriots have the offense to get the job done. Kareem brings up a very, very good point.
Yeah.
Does getting D-Hop change your loss predictions?
Yeah.
Is this a with hop disclaimer? without hop disclaimer. I don't know.
I would say that Bills game probably, if we get D-Hop, that changes my prediction on that.
I don't know about the Bills game, but I will say I say the Jets game.
Yeah,
I think if you got Kadarius Toney healthy, D Hop, MVS,
Sky
Travis
Moore.
Kelsey, Sauce Gardner, and that defense is not gonna be able to keep up.
No.
It's not. So I would definitely change some of those predictions if we get D Hop.
Yeah.
Definitely, without a question. Next game, the Christmas game against the Raiders at Arrowhead.
I got it. It's obviously a dub.
Yeah. Here's a tricky one. I'd have us 12-0. Yeah, it'd be hard not to. Here's a tricky one. New Year's Eve, against Cincinnati.
I think that's an L for the Chiefs. I think Cincinnati gets it done again in the regular season. They beat us. Joe Burrow improves to 4-1 against Mahomes. I think it would be. Yeah, I think Cincinnati and Buffalo beats us because I think we're going to beat them both in the playoffs on the road to the Super Bowl. So.
I'm gonna have to turn on my Homer goggles, and I think the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs beat them. I do.
I mean,
I
hope
think the Chiefs,
I hope they do.
I think the Chiefs have figured out a formula, and I think the Chiefs are going to. I think the Chiefs are going to separate the record, or continue to separate the record of the Chiefs and the Bengals at this point. With it being at Arrowhead, I think a lot of that stuff's going to come up. I think the crowd's going to get rambunctious. It's New Year's Eve. I'm a drink like 10. I'm gonna drink like 10 Steve Weisers in the parking lot, and I'm gonna be loud and obnoxious. And I think there's gonna be I think there's gonna be 70,000 of me who are loud and obnoxious. At that game.
Everybody's gonna be drinking that day.
Yep. Final game of the season in LA. I know you mentioned you think we split, so you taking this one as a loss?
And I think the starters are probably rested for this game.
Okay.
Resting.
So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got the Chiefs finishing 13-4.
I like it.
I've got them finishing 15-3. So
I like it.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I didn't think when I did like the second loss and you went win, I was like, oh, I'll probably have a worse record than he will. But
it was pretty close.
Yep. So 15-3 for me. And then 13 that doesn't sound right.
Wait, would it be 14-3 and then 13-4? Yeah.
13-4, yeah. So I don't think that's fair.
Yeah, me too.
Kind of looking at those and looking at what the Chiefs have done so far. Obviously in the past seasons, who they've lost, who they've gained, what could change. Obviously, I think we will have to revisit this conversation if the Chiefs somehow find a way to reel in D-Hop. But yeah, man, so there we go. Well, I'll save this. We'll keep tabs on it. And in the regular season, you and I will revisit this conversation and go, hey.
And if we get D-Hop, we got to revisit it too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. All right. Let's pay some bills again, and let's close this bad boy out. So you guys, we appreciate everybody who joined in, especially Kareem, Steven Chambers, Jake, Daniel, James Howell, Axel, everybody, guys. We appreciate it. We are going to try and do this now with the D-Hop predictions, 17-0. It'd be hard to argue.
Yeah.
Pending no injuries.
What game are you losing with D-Hop healthy, with all the guys healthy?
I don't know,
man.
It'd have to be a weird game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like remember last year when we lost to the Colts?
Yeah, it has to
we'd
be
have
like
to
that.
we'd have to pick a weird game, like the Green Bay one. The Green Bay one in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Green Bay has like 4 wins next year, and we're one of those wins.
And we muffed like 3 punts or something.
Yeah, something like that. Sky Moore fumbles upon or something.
Something crazy.
But no, we appreciate everybody joining with us today. Whether you guys watched on my YouTube page, Sports Empire Network, if you guys haven't already, make sure you go click the link trees in the description. Follow me on all forms of social media, especially if you are a Chiefs fan and a pro wrestling fan. You're going to get your fill on that content. Ty as well does a lot of Chiefs and New York Knicks content. Make sure you go follow for that. Follow Sports Empire Network for all your sports needs, breaking news, all types of different shows. It's lots of fun. TBD on a show next week.
Yeah.
But what I'd like to do, and maybe, you know what, I want to do this because when I say it on air and it's live and it's like, you know, out there in the universe, I feel like I'm obligated to uphold it. What if we, like, counting the weeks down to the preseason, we break down each draft pick that the Chiefs made? Like, hey, like, here's his strengths and weaknesses. Here's where the Chiefs drafted him. Here's where he came from, stuff like that. So TBD on the show next week, but look for One Arrowhead Drive to be continuing on here on Sports Empire Network. And other than that, like I mentioned earlier, SeatGeek.com, use promo code SEN to get $20 off your first purchase as a way to say thank you for following Sports Empire Network, guys. Ty, anything else before we close out?
No, I think that wraps it up. And like just what he said, thanks everybody for joining in, and definitely stay tuned. I'm excited, for this show and where we'll take it. So I'm excited for that.
Absolutely. As always, guys, good fight and good night.